Play clock at 5. Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler. Unreal. Malcolm Butler, who almost made the phenomenal play that wound up in Kersey's arms. There are flags on the field for a celebration. Amazing. Butler, a rookie free agent out of West Alabama.
They try to pick play, Al. They tried to go here, but he beats him to the punch. And I'm sorry, but I can't believe the call.
Me neither.
I cannot believe the call. You've got Marshawn Lynch in the backfield. You've got a guy that's been borderline unstoppable in this part of the field. I can't believe the call.
Play clock at 5. Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler. Unreal. He's in. Patriots win the Super Bowl. Brady has his 5th. What a comeback.
This is All Eyes on the Pats podcast.
Welcome to another episode of All Eyes on the Pats podcast. I'm your host, Steve Atkinson. Got a full show tonight, talking everything New England Patriots, even though they've done nothing, but they did re-sign Malcolm Butler today to a 2-year deal worth up to $9 million. They did re-sign him. I played the famous call of him intercepting Russell Wilson as time expired in the Super Bowl against Seattle at the 1 yard line, or the goal line, I should say, with no time left. And then he got benched 3 years later in 2017 against the Philadelphia Eagles. He didn't play. He's crying on the sidelines, sobbing. He gets cut. He goes to Tennessee, I think. And then he doesn't do well there. He then, I think, went to Arizona, didn't do well there. He did not play last year. And the Patriots just lost Jonathan Jones. Everyone around them is getting better. Everyone around them is loaded. They need to do something. So they went to the bottom of the barrel. They bring in Malcolm Butler for a workout on Monday. They sign him today. But I'm going to get to that in a little bit, but I want to talk about what's going on around the AFC and how it affects the New England Patriots as of right now. There's a lot of time left till the regular season starts, and I understand that, but the teams around the AFC are getting better, while the Patriots are just looking out the window and watching everything happen. Pass them by, literally. They're watching every team sign this person. Russell Wilson, for example. Here we go. Ready? This is what's happened so far. Matt Ryan is now a Colt. Deshaun Watson is a Brown. Russell Wilson went to the Broncos. J.C. Jackson went to the Chargers. Devontae Adams went to the Raiders. Ted Karras went to the Bengals. Tyreek Hill went to the Dolphins today, the Miami Dolphins. They're in your division. You play them twice a year. And Von Miller and O.J. Howard went to the Buffalo Bills. You had a long shot of beating the Buffalo Bills. And then Tyreek Hill goes to the Dolphins when they already have Jalen Waddle, Devontae Parker, and Mike Gesicki, their tight end. Who do you have right now? Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar, Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith. Nelson Aguilar wasn't that good. Jonnu Smith wasn't that good. Hunter Henry was good, and Kendrick Bourne was good. What are you doing? This is what the Patriots are doing. This is what they're doing. Dial tone off season. All the Patriots have done so far is sign Brian Hoyer to be the offensive coordinator for Mac Jones and the offense and help him at quarterback. They've signed Devin McCourty to be secondary coach. because that's Brian Belichick, but they don't really have a defensive coordinator. And they signed Matthew Slater to help special teams and be the special teams coach. They brought back old veterans to be coordinators and be player/coaches because they don't want to pay defensive coordinators. They don't want to pay offensive coordinators. Bill Belichick brought his guys back. His friends of Bill, people like to call them FOBs, for short, that know Belichick, that aren't going to say, hey, we should maybe do something differently. They're going to yes him. They're not going to say new ideas because they are friends of Belichick, or they're friends of their son, like Steve Belichick, Belichick's kid, Brian Belichick. They just have people on this team that know Belichick or are ex-players, like Malcolm Butler. Trent Brown is back, which is great. They needed to get Trent Brown back. They needed to get at least Malcolm Butler back because you didn't have a corner. Your cornerback room is Jalen Mills, Malcolm Butler, Jonathan Jones right now, Miles Bryant, Sean Wade, Terrence Mitchell, and Jawan Williams. They're going to get torched by the Buffalo guy. Stephon Diggs is going to be on Malcolm Butler. Malcolm Butler is going to be on Diggs. Malcolm Butler is going to be on Tyreek Hill. You had to get something. The AFC East is better now than it was in January. The Patriots, like I said last week, are worse now than they were in January. The Patriots, at best, at this moment, this can change, will probably finish third in the AFC East because of this move today by the Tyreek Hill going to the Miami Dolphins. They will finish third in the AFC East. That's not good enough. This is New England, who we are bound on championships and championships for 20 years with the greatest quarterback of all time. You kick him out the door. You bring in Cam Newton, go 7-9. Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl, so you spend a lot in free agency because Tom Brady won the Super Bowl. That's why they did that. Because what they should have done was, okay, we reset, we're going to pick through the draft, and then come this offseason, you spend. No, they did it backwards because their ex-quarterback won a Super Bowl and they wanted to make themselves look good. Fine, Mac Jones falls to you at 15. You didn't want Mac Jones. You didn't plan for Mac Jones. Mac Jones was sitting there at 15. Robert Kraft said, you better take Mac Jones. You better take him. Bill wanted to go defense. He wanted to go defense. Mac Jones is just sitting there. Robert Kraft's like, you better take him. So Bill takes him. Cam Newton gets COVID. Now, I was going to start Cam Newton, but Mac Jones is going to have to start now. We're going to have to cut Cam Newton now. Mac Jones, going into his second year, needs a receiver. Needs that number one receiver. And like I said last week, get him somebody he went to school with. Jameson Williams. Somebody like that who can be like a Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow type thing. That's great. But Jameson Williams tore his ACL or something in the championship game. So who knows if he'll be right. But there's other guys out there, right? There's other receivers. And I'm going to get to the receiver thing when I do Steve's draft board in a couple weeks. We're doing defensive ends today. But in a couple weeks, I will be getting to Steve's the receiver part of who the Patriots could draft in this draft. And they should draft a wide receiver that he played with, that Jones played with at school at Alabama. And maybe they can have that same connection and they'll be all set. They'll be all set. But on offense, I should say, they'll be all set. But the teams around them are getting so much better. Like Von Miller with the Bills, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. And you're just sitting there with a dial tone offense, with the phone like this. How could you do that, Bill? How? Because he thinks he doesn't want to admit that it was Brady. Or he doesn't want to admit that he is wrong and that we should have kept Tom here and all of those things. He doesn't want to admit it. He thinks he's right in what he's doing. Bringing in Matt Patricia to be the offensive guy. Joe Judge to who is the offensive guy? Brian Hoyer. He's the offensive guy. He's got the most experience on offense than all of those guys, all of the coaches, I should say, the assistant coaches. He's got the most experience, really. Joe Judge was doing special teams. Brian Hoyer's been backup quarterback for like 12 years with Tom Brady and Mac Jones, and he knows that offensive like the back of his hand. Mac Jones and Brian Hoyer are apparently teaching fucking Joe Judge the offense. It's ridiculous. And then on defense, you have Gerard Mayo holding the meeting, Steve Belichick calling the plays. Meanwhile, Devin McCourty is going to be the player/coach for the secondary. Who knows about Dante Hightower? Van Noy's gone. You got Malcolm Butler back. But you don't really have a second corner. You have Jalen Mills. Jerron Williams is coming. Jonathan Jones, I should say, is coming back off of injury. That's good. But he's not. Is he a J.C. Jackson? Maybe. Is Malcolm Butler cashed? Is my point. Right? He didn't play last year. So, he comes back after being benched 3 years ago in the Super Bowl, and nobody knows why Malcolm Butler was benched in that Super Bowl. Did he get in a fight with Steve Belichick? Did he, was he late to a hotel or something? Like, what happened? Nobody knows, right? Nobody knows what happened. Bill's going to get asked, and he's going to say, that was 3 years ago. We're on to this year. Blah, blah, blah. That was then. This is now. Malcolm's a great player, a great guy. We'll see where it goes. That's what he's going to say. And when he's asked about his who's the offensive coordinator, he's going to say, oh, we're going to do what's best for the football team. What's best for the football team, meaning what's best for Bill. So I just don't understand. You have the AFC West, for example, is fucking loaded, right? Kansas City is good still, even without Tyreek Hill. They still got Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert and the Chargers, and you have Derek Carr, Josh McDaniels, and they just got Devontae Adams trade with the Packers. You have then Russell Wilson goes to Denver. They have so much talent at the AFC West. That division's loaded. And in your own fucking division, you got the Bills, who are loaded with already they were going to win the division. The Jets are the Jets. You'll finish third. Right now, you'll finish third. Right now, if I was to rank the Patriots in the AFC, according to Vegas, they'd be 11th. I kind of agree. I do agree. They're 11th in the AFC. They are worse now than they were a year ago. They are worse now than they were in January when they lost the AFC wildcard game. This dial tone offense and bringing back veteran players to be coordinators is ridiculous. And that is what they're doing. And bringing back Malcolm Butler and Trent Brown because they're cheap. And James White. Now, James White helps you in the running game. Got Damian Harris. Stevenson's good. But you going to help Mac Jones? Supposedly, Miami went to get Tyreek Hill to build around Tua. But, according to Jimmy Stewart of Falgary Maz today, on 98.5, the Sports Hub, he said, well, Bruce Arians likes Tua. There was rumors before Brady came out of retirement that he would want to go to Miami or San Francisco. He's building a house in Miami. He might buy part ownership of Miami. They might trade Tua to Tampa and Brady goes to Miami. Another thing Jimmy Stewart said today on Felger and Maz on the 98.5 The Sports Hub was Gronk hasn't signed yet, and wherever Brady goes, Gronk goes. So keep that in mind that it's not done. There might be still more coming. And maybe that's why Miami traded for Tyreek Hill, because they know Brady's in the picture. Imagine this, right? Imagine Tom Brady in the same division as the Patriots. He goes in there, he plays the Patriots twice, right? He sucked. The Patriots, when he was with New England, he couldn't beat Miami in Miami. But they're loaded now on offense. And the Patriots do nothing. Say they do nothing, right? They don't draft they draft a receiver, but it's not like a number one guy or a slot guy or something like that. Say they don't. That's not going to look good. Which means they have to upgrade, right? Like they almost have to say, okay, all these teams are getting better. Even if Brady doesn't go to Miami. We got to do something. Just sitting back and watching all of these teams get better and better around you. You're not like I said before. There's no excuse to tank. No way. No, because that would be going backwards. If you were going to tank or you were going to build for the draft, you would have done that you did that in 2020, you draft well in 21, and then you spend in free agency in 22. Not Brady wins a Super Bowl, so we got to spend in 21, Mac Jones lands to you, and then you don't do anything in 22? Why? That's going backwards. Why? Because Brady didn't win the Super Bowl? So if Brady won the Super Bowl, you would have drafted? You would have done more in free agency? Is that what happened? Because that's what it looks like. Because everything's about number 12, who's in Tampa, who has 7 Super Bowls, and you have 6. So, well, Bill has 8, but with the Patriots, he has 6. So, 6. I just don't understand the mentality of what's going to go happen as we get closer to the NFL draft in about 6 weeks. Because you know Bill's going to go defense. You know it in the first round. You know it. It's going to be a linebacker. It's going to be defense, which is good because they need him, right? They want to get younger and faster. They could have done that again last year, but no. Our former quarterback won the Super Bowl, so we have to, splash in free agency. And then talk about the salary cap. I'm sorry. You're a fucking billionaires. They're millionaires. The cap is crap. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. You know why I don't believe it? Because Deshaun Watson, who's won no Super Bowls, 0, signed 5 years and $230 million contract to the Cleveland Browns. $230 million. I'm sorry, he's not worth the contract, and that is an insane amount of money. And if he gets suspended for this year, he's only making $1 million. So it doesn't even matter. It doesn't happen until 2023. The cap is crap. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it. And he's not worth that contract. Meanwhile, Tom Brady's making like $8 million this year, and he's won 7 championships. But this guy has won no Super Bowls, and he's making $230 million in 5 years. The cap is crap. I don't care. I don't care. The cap this, cap that. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Nope, I don't believe it. I don't. Sorry. So, they can spend money. Okay? They're just choosing not to because Bill wants to do it his way and think that his way is the right way. And is it going to be beneficial in the end? I don't know. Again, all of these teams are doing so good to build around their young quarterbacks. Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Tua, right? Unless the Brady thing happens. What are you doing to help Mac Jones? You did that last year? No. You did that last year because Mac, you did that last year before Mac Jones was even on this fucking team. You got two tight ends and a Kendrick Bourne and Nelson Aguilar, and you said Cam Newton was the starter. You didn't even draft him yet. So what are you doing to help Mac Jones? What are you doing? No, you did that last year. I've already explained why you did what you did last year. Okay? It wasn't because Cam Newton was the quarterback. It wasn't because you were going to draft one in the first round, because you didn't know Mac Jones was going to be at 15. You had no idea. Nobody did. Mac Jones was supposed to go to fucking San Francisco at one point. You didn't know that he was going to drop all the way down there. So, what are you doing to help Mac Jones? It would be to get another slot guy. Odell Beckham's out there. Jarvis Landry's out there. Go get someone, please. A veteran wide receiver. Better than Nelson Aguilar, please. No, Bourne can play. Jacoby Myers can play. Nelson Aguilar sucks. I'm sorry. Jonnu Smith isn't that good. Hunter Henry was fine. Can you help the kid out? Do you see what's happening? Or is it just going to be like this all offseason? Dial tone offseason. Not good enough. Sorry. It's not good enough. Do something, New England. Do something. All right. So, defensive ends. The Patriots could draft in this year's 2022 NFL Draft. First up is Aiden Hutchinson, defensive end from Michigan, because Bill Belichick loves Michigan guys. His strengths. He is vertical. Hutchinson timed a 6.54 in the 3-cone, which could have been better than the one at the 2020 Combine. Also, he vertical jumped 36 inches, ran 4.64 40, and logged, I can't read that, shuttle time. His weaknesses: he stands up well against the run, but is very pursuit conscious and will take unedited wide. I can't read that. Hold on one second. My computer's not acting right. Sorry about that. All right, so I'm just going to say the names that I think they will draft because my computer's not acting right. So Aiden Hutchinson. This sidebar keeps coming up. It shouldn't be. Hutchinson has been the most dominating pass rusher in college football during the 2021 season. So he's expected to go in the top 3 in the 2022 NFL Draft. The second guy I'm going to pick is Travon Walker, defensive end from Georgia. Travon Walker. He is expected to go in the top 2 rounds of the 2022 NFL Draft. And the third guy I'm going to pick, defensive end, is Tyreek Smith of Ohio State. He's good, not great quickness, and changes the direction of agility, chases along using a long spin move to clear blocks, low, strong off the line. He has fluid footwork to redirect reverse momentum and close with a burst. So those are my 3, okay, that I'm going to pick, as the Patriots could get all of those 3, or one of those 3 guys. Tyreek Smith, Hutchinson, and Travon Walker from Georgia. So, But like I said, when it comes to the draft, you don't really know if the player is really that good until like the second year. Like in 2019, Mike Lombardi went on his podcast and said something like the Patriots to draft N'Keal Harry. They couldn't even pronounce his name, N'Keal Harry. But DK Metcalf was obviously the better player in that draft and exploded in the league. N'Keal Harry has been dog food in the NFL. He's done nothing, right? So the Patriots in their drafting need to be better. They were better last year with Christian Barmore and Mac Jones, and Rodmore Stevenson was good. But they need to be better this year. And do you think it's going to be a collaborative effort with Matt Groh, the director of player personnel, and Belichick, and Matt Groh is the son of Al Groh, who worked with Bill, like friends of Bill again. Matt Patricia, who's like next to Bill Belichick every time. He's like, friends of Bill, former coach, former defensive coordinator, tries to be Belichick when he tries to get a job. Just things like that. It's just Joe Judge is here, friends of Bill, former coach, Steve Belichick, son of Bill. Gerard Mayo's a former player, I get it. Just can you get somebody on the outside to come in and say, hey, maybe we should do, No. But what we did was working for 20 years. Yeah, because you had Tom Brady here for 20 years and you won 6 Super Bowls, so it didn't matter if you had holes around the fucking team because he fucking covered it up for 20 years and won you 6 championships. I'm sorry, but that's what it comes down to. It comes down to the quarterback. And it's a quarterback league. And you have to build around the quarterback, and that's what these teams are doing. You're not going to win games with Kendrick Bourne. You're not. Kendrick Bourne, and you're not going to beat the Dolphins, let me tell you. You're not going to score enough points because the Dolphins are getting better. The Dolphins and the Jets were on Tyreek Hill today. Those two teams were in on Tyreek Hill. Were the Patriots? No. Why? Get Mac his number 1 guy, yo. Like, what the hell? What are you doing? I know what you're doing. It's stupid. You think it's good? It's not. They better get a receiver in the next couple, and then the next month, they need to get a receiver. Or every single week that I do this podcast, I'm going to say the same effing thing because it's ridiculous. The AFC I've never seen it before. We never saw it with Brady. It was Brady and Manning and Roethlisberger. That's it. Now it's Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Matt Ryan. I mean, it's Matt Ryan, but Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, you got all these guys, all these teams. Lamar Jackson, now Tua with all those weapons. Mac Jones, second-year guy. Second-year guy is important. This is when we see the leap. This is when we might see a jump in their development. Joe Burrow in his second year went to the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes in his second year went to the Super Bowl. Mac Jones, I think he's great. I do. I think he's a great quarterback. Do I think he can go to the Super Bowl? Not with this team. Now, they may be a surprise. They may get someone. But they need to do something. Because it's not good enough. It's not good enough. I don't care about the cap. The cap is crap. You can spend. The Browns just spent $230 million on a quarterback that's never won an effing Super Bowl in his life. So, the cap is crap. I don't care about the cap. You're a $1 billion company. You're a $1 billion team, I should say. Billions and billions and billions. Just effing, who gives a shit? Who cares? Who cares? There's people living paycheck to paycheck. It's fucking ridiculous. Pisses me off. Just spend the effing money. You're fucking millionaires anyway. Jesus Christ. All right. On that note, you can follow my work on Nuts and Bolts Sports. covering the Patriots. You can follow me on Twitter at SteveA27. You can also, if you want to donate to the podcast, you can to my Venmo account, Steve Atkinson27. You guys have a great week. I hope the Patriots fucking do something good this week, and I'll talk to you all next week. Have a good week. Go Pats.